Guys, Finn here, that is of course FYWN. I hope you're all having an amazing start to this week. Yeah, I know Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays don't tend to be that great, but I hope I'm giving you some kind of enjoyment. But yeah, geez, it is so hot here. So excuse me if I do look a bit a bit deflated. But guys, I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Before I get too far into this video, I do want to say thank you for the support recently on this channel. It has been insane. And I do want to just ask you guys, if everyone who watches this video could just share it with just one person, just one, it would help my channel so much and I would appreciate it so much. So yeah, just share with one person and I would absolutely love it. Okay, let's get into this. This is of course Premier League match week 11. Of course, this is going to be my match week predictions for the scorelines and of course my fantasy team. So stay tuned for that. Let's get into the first game. First game is going to be Bournemouth versus Manchester United. Of course, Bournemouth being in 9th place, which they pretty much expect to be throughout the season. They expect to be around mid-table, maybe slightly higher if they work hard enough. Manchester United in 7th. Of course, that's a huge leap for them to go from 14th to 7th. I mean, yeah, it's just a win against Norwich. You can't go too much about that. But I think Manchester United are extremely happy with that, especially if they even if they just end up in a Europa League position. I think they'll be very happy. Who knows, they could potentially go for like a 5th or a 4th and go close to that range of Champions League. But yeah, that could possibly be pushing it considering they're currently struggling slightly in Europa League. Yeah, they're winning, but barely. Before I get too far into that, I do want to say I just made a comedy skit video about Manchester United, which I absolutely loved. I made fun of Manchester United a tiny bit. Of course, being a Manchester United fan, I have the rights to do so. I loved making that video, and if you guys want to see it, I'll put it in the description below. I think Manchester United will win this game 2-1 versus Bournemouth because Martial is back, and I think they've got that kind of striking or attacking confidence now that Martial is back. It's weird. We saw that mentality and that chance creation versus Norwich, which we haven't seen recently, and I think it's because they're like, yay, one of our main strikers is back, Martial is back, but I still think they will concede. Mostly because we are slightly sloppy at the back, but mostly because if we don't create chances, it puts lots of pressure on our defense. And of course, they've got some really good attackers there at Bournemouth. And of course, if Ashley Young is playing, which he most likely will, yeah, we're most likely going to choose him. I can't wait for Luke Shaw to come back, but it's going to be a 2-1 to Manchester United. A slight win, but I think it's still going to be a win, even though they are away. Arsenal versus Wolves is next. Arsenal is 5th, Wolves is 12th. It's going to be very close. Wolves, of course, haven't had the best start to the season. Of course, 12th, although it's not a bad position considering they were only promoted like a season or two ago, it's still pretty good. But I think they've got that kind of team where they expect to be high. They expect to be pushing almost for Europa League. So 12th isn't the best for them. Arsenal, although, I mean, look, they drew against Crystal Palace and lost to Sheffield. That is totally embarrassing, and I don't know what's going on there. But I do see Wolves really do compete when they do face big teams. Purely because of that reason, I am going to say Wolves are going to beat Arsenal just because they compete against the big teams in the Premier League, and because then Arsenal are going to drop a tiny bit and give Manchester United a chance to catch up just a tiny bit. Yeah, but I am going to say a 2-1 to Wolves. I think they are going to nick the win there, and yeah, I think they're going to play well against Arsenal. Aston Villa versus Liverpool is next. Aston Villa is in 15th place and Liverpool in 1st. Aston Villa, of course, used to be a huge Premier League side, aren't necessarily anymore. They do expect to almost get results, but they haven't had the best start to the Premier League. 15th isn't an embarrassing end to the table. If they did, look, we're only a quarter into the way into the season. But Aston Villa 15th, nothing to be ashamed of considering they were just promoted. They've got a really strong team, but they're not going to have that much of an effect on Liverpool. They've won all their games except they've drawn one, which is of course against Manchester United, my boys. Yeah, but it's going to be a 3-0 win to Liverpool. I think they're still going to dominate. They're still going to be strong. Of course, with Alisson being back, he's been back for a few weeks now. They're just looking very strong. Their attack is looking very strong, and I really can't see Aston Villa really breaking down Liverpool. I mean, I'd like it if it could happen. It's just not going to happen. And yeah, even though it's away for Liverpool, they're just so strong. 3-0 to Liverpool. Brighton versus Norwich is next. Now this is going to be a very close one. Norwich didn't get that win against Manchester United. They're currently 19th in the Premier League, which isn't good at all considering they won the championship last season. Brighton are 14th, 15th, somewhere around there. So look, not a lot separating them, but I'm going to say it's a draw. I think they're going to be very close because they're very similar in the way they play. Their goalkeepers are very good. That's if Tim Krul is playing. If not, it's going to be very cruel for them. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be very close. They're very good with their attacking. Their defense is both sloppy. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-1 to both teams, obviously, if it's a draw. Manchester City versus Southampton, totally like opposite sides of the spectrum, with Southampton being in 18th position and City being in second. Wow, how embarrassing is that, Southampton? 9-0. You lost by 9 goals to Leicester. Look, Leicester's a good team, but to be conceding 9 goals is absolutely embarrassing. I mean, wow, you are not a Premier League team if you if you concede goals like that. That's super embarrassing. And against Manchester City, you almost expect them to be conceding more than that. But I don't think they're going to concede more, just because I find it highly unlikely. I think it's going to be a 3-0 win to Manchester City. I see them as the dominant side. Overall, I just really can't see Southampton having any sort of effect versus Manchester City. Southampton is really going down at the moment. Sheffield versus Burnley. Look, Burnley are in 13th in the league. Sheffield is in 8th. I think it shocks everyone that Sheffield is in 8th, but you know what? Well done to them. They've done a lot better than most of us would think. Lots of people, I think, would have put Sheffield in 20th place in their Premier League predictions. I mean, I can't remember where I put them. I think I still put them in relegation, but 8th is very impressive at the moment, even though we are in the quarter through the season. I'm going to still say 2-0 to Burnley, though. I think Burnley are going to get away with 2 goals just because of how strong their strike force is looking like. And I did think Sheffield did, of course, if you look at the kind of results, yes, it's still impressive that they won against Arsenal, but I really think it was almost lucky, or it's just very unlikely that they would have gotten something like that, and I can't see them continuing in that strong kind of manner. Therefore, I do think Burnley's going to get 2 goals against them. West Ham versus Newcastle. West Ham in 10th mid-table. I think they're going to be very happy with that. And 17th for Newcastle. Look, Newcastle's not doing that well this season at all. I'm going to say a 2-0 to West Ham, just because as a team in general, West Ham are looking a lot more confident in the way that they are playing. I do like West Ham. I do have to admit that. Just overall, I can't see Newcastle. Look, Newcastle and West Ham normally, I would say, are very close. But the way Newcastle have gotten off the season, I have to give it to West Ham by 2 goals. Watford versus Chelsea. Chelsea in a Champions League in a Champions League position in 4th, and Watford in 20th. Look, totally opposite sides of the spectrum once again. Watford haven't gotten a single win, and that's totally embarrassing. 0 wins. I mean, how can you do that? I'm going to have to say 4-1 to Chelsea, just because Chelsea are still sloppy at the back. I keep saying this. And of course, they got a confident win with Pulisic getting the perfect hat-trick in their previous game, with him getting a right foot goal, left foot goal, and a header. Well done to America, their Captain America. Of course, not captain, but you know what I mean. I see Chelsea coming away with a strong 4-1 win against Watford. And yeah, I could seriously just, wow, Watford, I've never seen you guys do this badly in a very, very long time. Crystal Palace versus Leicester. Crystal Palace on 6th. I think that's very shocking. Of course, if they do lose, Manchester United, if they win their game, will go ahead of them, and I really just need Manchester United to go up. But at the end of the day, Leicester put 9 goals past Southampton. That's so impressive. Whether it's Southampton or any team, to get 9 goals is a huge achievement. And there's only ever been 2 in the Premier League history, teams that have scored 9 goals and kept a clean sheet, that have won 9-0. And that is, of course, a game with Kasper Schmeichel and Peter Schmeichel, obviously for Leicester, and for Manchester United, father and son. That's a really cool fact. I absolutely love that. I don't think they're going to win by as much, of course, versus Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace, as I said, are in 6th place. I mean, that's not bad by any means. Therefore, I'm still going to give it to Leicester. I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-0. Not the biggest of wins in comparison, but it's still a very comfortable win. Everton versus Tottenham. Now, this is going to be the sack race kind of thing. I think whoever loses here, the manager is going to get sacked. That's going to be my question of the day. Guys, put in the comment section down below. Do you think whoever loses this game, the manager will get sacked between Silva and with Pochettino? Of course, Spurs are in 11th. Everton are in 16th. Neither of them expect that. I think Spurs will come away with the win with a 3-2. It's going to be very close. But as I said, whoever loses this, the manager will get sacked. Now, quickly into my fantasy team. I've got Schmeichel in goal. Confident with Leicester's result. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, once again, if Manchester United do semi-well, I think he could still get points. He always does. Virgil van Dijk, there's a chance that he won't play because he might be injured, but I'm still keeping him in there because I'm very confident. Cresswell from West Ham, very confident in his ability to be there. Cancelo from Manchester City, he's been racking up points, doing super well in his Premier League debut season. Those are my defenders. Midfielders, Mane from Liverpool, always confident in him. Sterling from City, always always confident in him. He's just one of the best in the world at the moment, just in general. Maddison from Leicester always gets big results. Tielemans from Leicester, always big results. He's also doing well now that he's officially a Leicester City player. My strikers, Barnes from Burnley. I'm confident he'll get a goal or two for Burnley. Along with Abraham from Chelsea. He's just been such a powerhouse player for Chelsea this season. And yeah, my bench has to consist of Stones from City, just because there's a chance that he could get points, especially if they end up getting that clean sheet Manchester City. Ceballos from Arsenal, just in case Arsenal do win. Jota from Wolves, because I'm just confident in his ability. And that goalkeeper from Tottenham, who's replaced Hugo Lloris. Obviously, I will not say his name because I'll be called a racist for the rest of my life, and I'm not risking that because I cannot pronounce that. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Of course, weekly, if you want to see this weekly, please do subscribe if you are new. And as I said, just please, if everyone who watches this can share it with just one person, it would help me out massively. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this Premier League prediction. I hope you loved it. I enjoy making these videos. But guys, stay awesome. I love every single one of you. Cheers.